This is our composting toilet. Composting toilet's gonna be a really great way to help you guys get off-grid and open up a lot of new opportunities for places to stay in your RV. If you're living full-time in your RV, or even if you're just doing weekend trips here and there and getting ready to go, consider a composting toilet because it eliminates your black tank and it opens up a lot of opportunities for places to stay. This place doesn't have sewer hookups, and with this composting toilet, we do just fine. So stick around till the end. I'm gonna show you the ins and outs of the composting toilet here, exactly why it's a good choice, how to use it, and how to get it all installed. So before we get into how we installed the composting toilet into our RV, we wanna go over how to manage your solids and your liquids. This is gonna be very important if you're gonna make the switch from your traditional RV black tank. When managing your liquids container, you wanna make sure that you're being respectful. If you're at a campground, you could go outside and you could empty it into your sewer hookups if you have them at your site, as long as you're being careful not to spill it over onto the concrete or the grass. Another thing that you can do is you could take it into the bathhouse and then you could just dump it down the toilet and flush it. That's what we like to do if we're staying overnight in a campground. It makes it nice, seamless, super easy. If you're staying at a harvest host, make sure that you discuss this with the person who owns the property. Same thing goes if you're staying long-term in somebody's yard or something like that. Make sure that you discuss it with them. Some people might not be super comfortable with you emptying your liquid waste on the property. If you're staying somewhere like boondocking in a nice wooded area, we've all been camping before, and we've all gone and used the local tree. 9 times out of 10, that's going to be okay. You're not gonna get any odor from it when you dump it, but just make sure that you're being respectful when you're emptying your liquids container. When we're on the road and we're at a truck stop and we're stopping to get gas and we notice that we're about halfway full, being that you're in motion, things bounce around. When we fill up halfway on the road, I'll bring it in one of those reusable shopping bags that you'll get from the store. We have a separate one, obviously, for our liquids container. And we'll bring it in to the truck stop and I'll take it into the bathroom with me. And after I do my business, I'll dump it down the toilet and flush it right there. That's a really good way to manage that on the road as well. If you're gonna go over to a campground or you're gonna stay at a harvest host on your last gas stop before you show up, just be prepared just in case and take that in to the truck stop with you and empty that right down the toilet. Nobody's gonna notice that you're walking in with a shopping bag at a busy truck stop. Don't be embarrassed about it. It's totally fine. It's something that you're allowed to do. So don't feel uncomfortable with it. Just walk on in, go into the stall, do your business. So when it comes time to change the solids tank in your composting toilet, which we do roughly about every 4 weeks using it full time with 2 people, it really does last a long time. Sometimes we'll go a little bit earlier, but really the key giveaway is going to be that this agitator here is going to be a little bit tough to turn. What we have here is we use a brick of coconut coir. I'll put a link in the description below to Amazon for where we get ours. It's a little cheaper than going through the manufacturer, and you get a little bit more bang for your buck. Essentially, we just mix this with about 6 cups of water. You're gonna have some dry parts left in this, which is good because it's gonna help kind of suck the moisture out of any of the solids that are gonna be in that tank. We also like to add a little bit of cedar or pine to it. It's a very dry, and it also helps suck moisture out of anything that's sitting there in that solids tank. Also gives it a bit more of a pleasant smell. You're really not gonna smell it because you're gonna vent that hose out anyway. So next is the fun part. We're gonna empty out the solids tank. We're just gonna untwist all of these here. And these are just finger twist off. That's tight on there. And you just slide this to the side. Right into here. Give it a little stir, give it a little shake. Right out into the bag. Any residual that's in there, you're gonna wanna keep in there because that residual is gonna keep that bacterial colony alive that's going to eat the waste and break it down. Tie it on up. And this is ready to go out in the trash. Let's get this out of here. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take some of our cedar chips and we're just going to dump a decent amount in there. Give it a little turn. We'll add just a little bit more for good measure on top. This is ready to go back inside. So how we have our composting toilet mounted here is these actually have to be tightened up a little bit, which I'm going to get on right before I put this back on. What we did here is we have a just standard toilet gripper plug. And what we did with the gripper, just to make it sit a little more flush, is we took a metal hacksaw and just cut the end of this bolt off here so it kind of sits flush. This is just any old standard piece of 3/4 inch plywood here. And what we did with that was we traced out the toilet onto the outside of it, and we just cut it to the shape of the toilet, measured out exactly where the flange was going to sit because we didn't want to remove that. We need to keep the black tank plugged there. And then what we did was we just mounted this to the floor using 3 screws, one here, and one here. This here was the old toilet intake for the fluid. We capped it off here, and we actually turned it off in our water management manifold in the underpass. So we were able to just cut off all flow to this, but you know, the cap's just there for safety in case it accidentally gets turned back on. Another thing that you're going to do to this platform here is you're going to measure out these brackets. These brackets are going to come with the toilet. 2 of them here are going to mount the actual base of the toilet with the composting holding, and this one is going to be to, these 2 are going to be to mount the urine catch. We're going to draw out lines and everything, just get them mounted on there, and this is going to be the best way to mount the composting toilet to the floor in your RV. What we're going to do is there's a vent fan that's supposed to come out of here, and we need to vent this outside of the RV. There's a little bit of an earthy aroma that comes with these things, and that fan will help keep it dry, and it'll take that scent that you'll get when you open the top up, and it's going to vent it out here. The plan is that we're going to vent it through the floor here to the underbelly, and being that we're not using a black tank anymore, we don't need the black tank then. That vents up to the roof above us. So the plan is going to be to pipe this into that black tank vent and cap it from the bottom. This fan here is going to have to go and be mounted into the floor. So we're going to have to cut a nice big old hole in the floor of the RV. We have the drill bit already pre-measured out. It's just going to be to the size of that fan there. Nobody really likes doing this. I know that I don't like drilling a hole into a new RV that we just moved into, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So down there on the bottom, it looks like it's got a little bit of carpet. I got my trusty Leatherman here, which I honestly use more than just about any tool that I have in my arsenal. It's just so convenient, super handy. So we're gonna get this over here, and we're gonna use the Leatherman. Cut through that carpet that's there below. So up there you can see, I'm gonna bring it a little closer. Right there is going to be that little pilot hole that we made, so we're just going to cut this carpet out all the way around and pop that other piece out. So down here now we got this all cut away, and what we're looking at here is our hole all the way up to the bathroom. So next up on the list is going to be getting this cleaned up over here. We have, of course, a little bit of sawdust here, a little bit of stuff we're going to have to get rid of. Highly recommend these Dyson stick vacuums for anybody in an RV. It's got incredible power, really good battery life, and it's super compact, so you can fit it basically anywhere. So we're going to get this all cleaned up. Next order of business is going to be mounting this fan housing. We have the fan right there, but we're going to put that actually on the bottom because we have access to an outlet. And if we ever want to run it directly into the battery, it can run when we're on the road. But basically this housing is going to go right here. And it's just going to vent right out of the toilet to the other side. We've got the seal here that's going to go on the bottom side of that. And it's just going to provide a really nice seal so none of that earthy smell gets through into the bathroom. Next up, we're going to get the fan housing mounted. This is going to screw on right here. We're going to want to make sure that that lines up nice and even with the hole. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut the hose. So the hose is going to have to reach from there all the way around to this side. We had this one pre-done up. See, we have a vent on this side, so when you order it, it's going to ask you what side you want your piping on. In our last RV, the smaller one, which we'll do another segment about, you know, the vent really had to go on the left side. We're just going to use a little bit of extra piping. We're going to pipe it around the back right into there. What we'll see here is we have our hose piped all the way around the back into this fan housing that we have mounted here in the floor. Now, this is going to vent all of that unpleasant, kind of earthy odor out into the underbelly. So let's get down there. So down here we have another fan housing. And in this box, we have our old O-ring that we're going to use for a good seal. Next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to plug this fan in. This fan is going to have to be installed, I think it's going to have to be installed upside down. There we go. Yep, so that's the way it's going to have to go. That way it's blowing downward. So next up is going to be the tricky part. We're going to have to get up there and we're going to have to mount this extra housing in there with minimal space. I could not record it because it was impossible to get in there. We got all 6 of those screws mounted in this really tight space, and I'm, you know, not a small dude by any means. But we got that up there. The fan is working. It's facing the proper direction, thank goodness. So the next thing is going to be routing the tubing. So what we're looking at here for routing the tubing is right here is our black tank. So this is our black tank vent. So what I plan to do is cut here and here. And then I have a couple of pieces here. I'm gonna put a cap here just to prevent any odor that's residual in that tank from coming up. And there's gonna be a angle tipped, an angle joint that we're gonna put there, and we're gonna pipe this tubing directly into it. This here has a bug vent on it that you could disconnect, and you can disconnect that and clean it off just in case any bugs get on up in there. But that should pipe directly up into the roof vent. So what we're gonna do here next is we're gonna take our PVC saw that we have, and we're gonna use it to carefully cut through this black tank vent. Okay, now that our black tank vent is cut and capped, we have this. This joint is gonna go on here, and it's gonna give us a place to pipe in our new tubing. Then our final step of the install is going to be getting this tube from up there to down here. Got it. And this, we're gonna run away from the heater duct, because as we can see here, these are kind of taking a little bit of damage from those. We're gonna take our extra segment of pipe here, disconnect this here for the bug vent. This up here. That's gonna connect right there. And this is gonna go right in here. And we're gonna tighten that up. Last thing that I want to do is I want to get up onto the roof and check the vent, make sure that we have airflow. Oh yeah, we could smell that earthy smell coming right out of the toilet. So that's it really for today's video. This is how to set up your composting toilet and why your composting toilet might be a better option for you. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope that it's taught you a few things on how to set up your composting toilet, or maybe convinced you to give it a shot versus the black tank. It really opens up your horizons. You don't always have to stay in campgrounds. There's a lot of other places that you can find, and if you don't have black water to worry about, it really helps out. Thanks again for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.